What's up, people of YouTube? I'm Karstowski and welcome to the Karstowski Eats YouTube channel. So, in a fairly recent video of mine, I tasted 4 different ginger beers from pretty much the best grocery store in the United States at Jungle Jim's. Well, also at Jungle Jim's, I found 3 different flavors of cane sugar root beer, and we are going to taste them in this video and just try a little bit more cane sugar root beer. Root beer is pretty much my favorite soft drink, and whenever they're able to make it out of cane sugar, that's when it's the best. So I only have 3 of them today. There are a lot more options out there, but the next time I go to Jungle Jim's, which will probably be in a few months, I think I might swing by and grab a few more. Anyway, so let's stick with the 3 that we have today. So first up, we have root beer Maine root. Very interesting name. There is the front. Fairly simple looking root beer. Again, it has cane sugar in it, and one of the things that I really like about root beer in general is that it's caffeine free. I have a history of not being able to have caffeine before I go to bed. So if it's like maybe an hour or 2 before I go to bed at night, I'm on. This is also all twist off, but it's pretty stuck on there, so I'm trying to get this off. Okay, so one thing I like about root beer is that it's caffeine free. So if it's about an hour or 2 before I go to bed, then, you know, I can have a nice tall bottle or glass of root beer without having to worry about laying in bed going like this, or my chair going like this, which is what normally happens whenever I drink caffeine. So let's go ahead and taste the root beer Maine root. Again, not a very exciting title, but I guess simple. Yeah, that is a pretty simple tasting root beer. So when a root beer is made with cane sugar as opposed to high fructose corn syrup, there is a distinct taste that you get after you've already swallowed it that resides in your mouth. And I don't know about you, but any soft drink that has high fructose in it, it just leaves like a bad aftertaste in my mouth. And with anything with cane sugar in it, it's just nice and smooth, and it doesn't have that much residual flavor to it, and it just doesn't linger, and it doesn't taste too much like chemicals. Yeah, that's just nice and smooth. Not a bad root beer at all. I mean, it again, I guess the main root beer, with it being a simple title and all, just a simple root beer. If I had a bunch of root beers and they did not have a label on them, I probably would not be able to distinguish this one from any of the others, but very solid root beer right there. All right, now here is the second root beer, called Death Valley root beer. Now that is a name for a root beer, and I don't know about you, but it looks darker than the last one. That's probably because the bottle was just a different color, and it was, you know, has a little bit more of a tint to it, so you can't really tell. But this to me looks much darker than any other root beers that I've seen. Brewed by Indian Wells Brewing Company. Very nice old fashioned right there. Okay, so all of these are twist offs. Yeah, some of them could be very difficult to get off, so I had to go get me a screwdriver and pop this lid off. Yeah, that's kind of funny that a twist off cap can be that difficult to take off, but you know what? That usually means the product's pretty good if it's in a tough to take off cap like that, at least in my experience. So let's go ahead and taste the Death Valley root beer. Wow. Now that is good. It's got a much stronger taste to it as compared to the previous root beer, the main root beer. It just like pops out at you. It's completely different taste to the previous one. Yeah, well, I guess having that difficult of a cap to take off just preserves that nice flavor, and I guess that's what the Old West tastes like. That's what it says right here on the label. So, excellent root beer from Death Valley, and probably the best name for root beer that I've seen. All right, so we have our third and final root beer here, and it is called Rocky Mountain Root Beer. So nice, another nice name to it. I had something very similar to this in the ginger beer video with a similar nice looking label such as this. I really like a lot of these labels on these root beers. Yeah. It's got that bighorn sheep at the front. Let's see if this Rocky Mountain Root Beer can compete with the other two. Huh. Very similar to the first one, I think. Yeah, it's not quite as strong as Wild West root beer. This one is very interesting. I mean, they all essentially have the same ingredients, but there's a little hint of something different in each one of them that makes them distinct with all the other flavors, or other brands, I should say. Yeah, it's good. Like, I don't think out of all of the brands of root beer I've had, I don't think I've ever had a terrible one, although I've had some that were a little bit more lacking than others, and yeah. So this one, I'd have to say, is probably about fairly average. I probably wouldn't get it again, but it's not too bad overall. So that is Rocky Mountain Root Beer. All right, I am ready for the results. So, in third place, with a score of 6 out of 10, it's gonna have to be the main root beer. Now, this one is not bad. It's just fairly plain and fairly average. To me, it kind of tastes like it's flat. And you know, this is a brand new open bottle, so it shouldn't taste stale or anything like that, but I guess that's just how the root beer recipe actually is. And yeah, fairly average. I probably would never have another one like this again. So main root beer, yeah, relatively average, probably won't actually get this again. Okay, so our number 2 spot with a ranking of a 7 out of 10, it is the Rocky Mountain Root Beer. Now this one is also fairly average. It's somewhat similar to main root beer, but this one does have a little bit more of a stronger flavor than the previous one. And again, this one is also fairly average, aside from the really nice label that it has, and also this gold-plated cap that it has. I probably wouldn't be able to distinguish this bottle from any other root beer bottle. So yeah, relatively average Rocky Mountain Root Beer. Nice name, nice design of the bottle, but kind of average, forgettable taste. And now our number 1 spot with a 9 out of 10. It is, of course, the Death Valley Root Beer. The best name out of all the root beers, the darkest color in all the root beers in my opinion, and it just has a taste of the Old West. I mean, this definitely has the strongest flavor out of any of these root beer brands that we have today. And of all, I would have to say that probably out of all of the cane sugar root beers that I've had on this channel, this one right now is probably the king. Now, I don't know if I would ever make a big video comparing every root beer that I've ever had. I might do that one of these days, but as of right now, I'd have to say the Death Valley root beer is probably my favorite root beer that I've ever had on this channel. So this right here is definitely the brand to beat. And that's pretty much my review on these 3 brands of root beer. I found these at Jungle Gyms. I do not know if you can find them anywhere else. I'm assuming they're going to be pretty difficult to find anywhere else because Jungle Gyms is known for having foods from international places, and it's just one of those rare places that you can just find gems of all kinds that you'll only ever find in stores at that one location. So you can try to find these anywhere else, but I kind of doubt that you'd be able to. Anyway, so if you have enjoyed my review, please give this video a like. And also, if you have any other suggestions on what other video topics you want me to go over, then go ahead and comment them down below. And if I choose your comment, I'll put it on the screen and I'll shout out your channel. Also, if for some reason you are not yet subscribed to this channel, then go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you'll never miss any videos. So I'm Karsatowski. Keep watching my content and I'll see you in that next video. See ya.